The shores of Lake Erie provide no comfort. The lake does not whisper, but howls its warnings, and the punishing conditions reveal the ghosts of those who fail to heed. Fools still take to the waters seeking glory, but all that's below the Erie surface is their demise. Fear the depths.
Another day, and another group of divers claiming they were attacked off the shores of Lake Erie near the site of the SS Calder.
Tell me again, what you encountered down there?
Water looks great. This is gonna be a nice, easy dive.
Something relentless. It felt like it was everywhere all at once.
You said it was low visibility down there, but are you sure you didn't get tangled in some seaweed?
Seaweed? It was fast, tough, aggressive. Not seaweed.
And then you said we're thrown overboard?
Mayday. I've got 2 divers lost in water.
The closer we got to the Calder, the angrier it got. It just beat us up and shut us down.
Aren't you guys a film crew? Like, you must have gotten some type of evidence of this creature.
We're terrified. The louder we got, the more intense it was. We didn't have time for evidence.
What did you see?
Monsters.
The man they call Cowboy! Through fire, rebound, loose kick, fire, barometer, turn! Brendan picking off camera, turns into a goal! Now Breeze got over to the right post! Loose puck and they score! It's Sillinger was slattered on his block! Off the draw, stick to the net, they score! Alone in front of Champ, they score!
Well, how about that continuation of the open that Monster fans saw at the start of games at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse this season? This is Chapter 2, and our production team here at the Fieldhouse doing outstanding work bringing the drama and the energy to life for the Monsters, setting the tone for hockey each and every night that the Monsters drop the puck here in Cleveland. Well, hi again, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Monsters OT, presented by the UH Straczynski Sports Medicine Institute. Tony Brown here with you, and we're actually on a game day at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Monsters getting set to take on the Grand Rapids Griffins, but we've got a packed show for you. In our headline segment, presented by our friends at G&D, we're going to run down some recent acquisitions for the Monsters, as well as the recent transactions that have seen some notable names leave Cleveland and head for Columbus and the National Hockey League. In addition to that, we'll take a look at the Monsters' recent blood drive that saw Jock Callender and myself pitch in, making the ultimate assist alongside the Red Cross. And as always, we've got our Monsters Alumni Spotlight as well. A true fan favorite, maybe the fans' all-time favorite Monster. We'll highlight him coming up. But as always, we begin with headlines, which are presented by G&D. Visit G&D on Indeed for exciting career opportunities. Well, let's start things off on headlines presented by G&D with the North Division standings. Now, the Monsters, after a tough weekend in Laval, are now tied in the point column for first place, but technically, based on the tiebreakers, they're in second place in the North Division standings behind the Syracuse Crunch. Things really tightening up. The top 5 teams in the division end up qualifying for the postseason, so it's going to be a dogfight for that final spot in the division between teams like Toronto, Laval, Belleville, Rochester. Things after you get past Syracuse and Cleveland really up for grabs in the North Division standings. Let's take a look now at who's been on the move lately for the Monsters, and there have been a bevy of recent transactions for Cleveland, and unfortunately for the team in the short term, they see guys leaving the Monsters and headed up to the NHL and the Blue Jackets. Now, it's great news for those players who have earned their chance at hockey's highest level, but for the Monsters, these are difference makers that are now unavailable, and that includes their captain, Brendan Gauntz, called up on March the 12th. A couple of days before that, Carson Meyer was recalled, and a few days after, or rather prior to that, at the NHL trade deadline, it was Nick Swalansky, the Monsters' leading scorer and all-time leading scorer, both this season and in the context of the whole history of the club, he headed up to the Blue Jackets too. So those departures certainly sting. Also, Pavel Chayan, this is a positive one. He's going down to the ECHL, to the Cincinnati Cyclones, where he's going to log some games, get into the net a little bit, because the Monsters' goal crease is all of a sudden just a little bit crowded. And why is that? Well, let's talk about some of the new acquisitions for the team, as the Monsters benefited from the Blue Jackets being active at the NHL trade deadline, and they acquired two pretty big names in the American Hockey League. We'll start with Malcolm Subban, a veteran goaltender who has been competing this season with Springfield in the AHL for the St. Louis Blues organization, 11, 14, and 4 in 31 appearances. But Subban, a former first-round pick by Boston back in 2012, he's had a great NHL career. He's played for multiple teams, the Bruins, the Vegas Golden Knights, Chicago, Buffalo, over the course of the better part of a decade, and also 200-plus career AHL appearances for Subban, as he has been really a guy that we've seen around the league in recent years, helped the Rochester Americans all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and so in support of Jet Greaves and Pavel Chayan, but really in support of the entire Blue Jackets organizational goaltending depth, this is a difference-making pickup for the Blue Jackets for Cleveland. He's a guy that can be called up and play in a pinch up in Columbus, and he's certainly someone that's going to help stabilize things in net for Cleveland as the Monsters try to make a long-term Calder Cup playoff push. Now, another big name is coming to join the Monsters here, and it's Jakub Zaboral, a defenseman who also coincidentally was once upon a time drafted in the first round by the Boston Bruins. He's been playing with the Providence Bruins, where the Monsters saw him a couple of times recently here. 9 points in 31 games this year, but again, a former first-round pick, native of Czechia, and a guy that has really made an impact for the Bruins over the course of multiple seasons, better part of 5 years with both Boston and Providence in that Bruins organization, and now he joins what is a very crowded blue line here in Cleveland, but the Monsters certainly happy to have his veteran leadership and stability on the back end. Speaking pregame, before a recent game up in Laval on the road, Monsters head coach Trent Vogelhuber weighed in on both Subban and Zaboral and what they're going to bring to the Monsters locker room.
You know, just have played against him here a few times. Really quality veteran goaltender who's got a ton of NHL games under his belt, and most importantly, I've heard that he's an outstanding guy and teammate. So anytime you can add goaltending depth into an organization this time of year, I think it's helpful. And adding a good teammate this time of year is just as helpful. And he's a hell of a goaltender as well, so we're excited to have him.
And then Zaboral, you saw him play recently with Providence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a really, really solid defender. He plays hard. He defends really well. I think he's just saw him a couple times there, right? But I think he's an outstanding addition organizationally, just in being hard to play against and defending properly. And again, this time of year, you've got to keep the puck out of your net and be hard to generate chances against. I think he'll help a ton in that regard.
Well, we've been talking a little bit about the playoffs, guys. Up next on Headlines, courtesy of G&D here, let's take a look at the AHL's playoff primer. If you don't know what this document is, you're going to want to. It's available on theahl.com. It'll be updated daily throughout the remainder of the season, leading into the playoffs. And a big tip of the cap to Jason Chimovich with the league. This is his pet project. He does an outstanding job. Literally any bit of information you want to know about who's in the mix for the playoffs, what it's going to take for each team to clinch a spot in the playoffs, it's all there. So visit theahl.com and keep up to date with the playoff primer. For all of us that work in the league, it's an invaluable resource come this time of year. And before we say so long on Headlines, just quickly wanted to acknowledge that the Monsters continue to lead the AHL in attendance, averaging over 10,000 fans per game still, and 17 of the Monsters' home games this year have had over 10,000 folks loud and proud and in the building. It makes such a difference for the players, so hats off to the fans here in Cleveland who continue to impress us and blow us away year after year in their support of the Monsters. Well, that's it for our headline segment, again presented by our friends at G&D. Visit G&D on Indeed for exciting career opportunities. Lots more show coming up, so stay with us from Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. This is Monsters OT, presented by the UH Straczynski Sports Medicine Institute on Valley Sports, Great Lakes. back on Monsters OT, presented by the UH Drasinski Sports Medicine Institute. Tony Brown back with you here on Valley Sports Great Lakes. We've still got our Monsters Alumni Spotlight, presented by True North Convenience Stores, just around the corner. But right now on the show, it's time to take a look at the recent Monsters Blood Drive. Now, it took place here at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, and I was able to twist Jock Calendar's arm, no pun intended, to drag him down and donate blood as we joined a bunch of folks here in Northeast Ohio who, alongside the Red Cross, are making the ultimate assist by giving blood. Welcome, Monster fans. We're here at the Monsters Blood Drive in conjunction with the American Red Cross. We're in the atrium at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, and alongside Jock Calendar and a whole bunch of other generous folks from the community, today is about making the ultimate assist in donating blood. Let's take a closer look. So we just donated, what, 1 unit of blood?
Yep.
But we're here with Kelly, who's a collection specialist too with the American Red Cross. Kelly, I just had a couple of questions for you here. First of all, and I didn't realize this, but I was talking to someone recently, and they let me know that when you donate blood, it doesn't just help the community where you are, in this case, Northeast Ohio, but this blood could be going anywhere, right?
Yep, we are first responders for other regions, so as long as our hospitals are okay, we will send to other regions, including Michigan and Indiana.
If anyone out there is interested in donating blood, but they don't know how to get to one of these events or how to get that process started, what's the best thing for them to do?
They can go online to redcross.org, and then it'll ask you for your zip code. Type in your zip code, and they will give you about a 5-10 mile radius of anything in your area.
Great.
Or you can call 1-800-RED-CROSS.
That's awesome, and I gotta say, this was a super easy process. We were done in what, 15-20 minutes tops, in and out. So basically, what makes blood donation so important? Our medical system really relies on it in this country.
Yep.
Right. Well, this has been an amazing experience. Kelly, thank you so much for taking good care of me here.
You're welcome.
Keep up the great work.
Thank you very much.
Okay, well, that is it. Both Jock and myself have now donated a unit of blood, and Jock, you did something a little different too. You did the Power Reds, right? And there's something more involved in that process.
Yeah, I've never done it before. I've done blood before quite a few times, right? But they asked if I'd do the Power Red, and I said, yeah, I don't know if they needed my type of blood or what, but they split the red cells and the plasma or something.
Okay, cool.
And they put the plasma back in you. They keep the good stuff.
There you go. So anyway, I think the important thing to emphasize here is that donating blood is an easy thing to do. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do for a living. I mean, we were in and out in what, 20, 30 minutes?
Yeah, it was quick. Yeah. Do a couple questions and then they get you on the table and away you go.
And then they get you your snacks, which is important, but also this amazing shirt. So all people who donated get this Monsters American Red Cross shirt as we are making the ultimate assist today. So Jock, thanks a lot for donating blood, for doing this, and I think it's time well spent.
Yeah, it was very good.
All right, that's it from Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse here in the atrium for Jock Calendar. I'm Tony Brown, and that'll put a bow on the Monsters Blood Drive. Well, good times there, and I think the big takeaway we want everyone to have following the Monsters Blood Drive is that it's really easy to give blood. It doesn't take much time, and it makes a huge difference for communities all across the country, not just here in Northeast Ohio. So if you can, consider donating blood with the American Red Cross. With that, we're going to take a quick break, but plenty more ahead. Stay with us. It's Monsters OT on Valley Sports Great Lakes. Monsters OT is presented in part by Labatt Blue. Back at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, Tony Brown with you on Monsters OT, presented by the UH Drasinski Sports Medicine Institute. Thanks for tuning in on Valley Sports Great Lakes. Well, time now on the show to take a look at the Monsters Player Spotlight. And today, I wanted to highlight a rookie player for Cleveland that has really been coming along this season. And I'm talking, of course, about Hunter McCown. Now, he played his college hockey at Colorado College and got some games in at the NHL level with the Blue Jackets towards the end of last season. But this year, 8 goals, 21 points in 48 games games for the Monsters. And in recent weeks, in talking with Trent Vogelhuber, Cleveland's head coach, and the rest of the staff, they say among the rookies, Hunter is a guy that's taken maybe the biggest step this year in terms of his development. Now, learning to play the center ice position at college and in the pros are two different things, but Hunter certainly going to be called on here in the next couple of weeks and next couple of games specifically for the Monsters, as many of their key centermen unavailable right now. Brendan Gaunt's called up, Josh Dunn still injured, so the role for a guy like Hunter McCown will be expanded, and he has been stepping up to the plate really all season long and seizing that chance to play and grow and develop, and that's what the American Hockey League is all about. Well, we wanted to run down a couple of recent promotions and then look ahead to some huge ones that are still ahead this season at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Let's start with Pucks and Paws. Now, this took place on the 2nd of March, and the Monsters were able to host 12,500 plus fans and over 500 dogs at the game. It was an amazing event that, as always, every year raises a bunch of money and awareness for the Cleveland Animal Protective League. The APL has been a great partner here. And I'm happy to report, too, that on Pucks and Paws, the Monsters were also able to get a handful of dogs adopted, too, which is part of the mission here alongside the APL. So another super fun Pucks and Paws in early March here at the Fieldhouse this year. It's a game we look forward to each and every season. And talking about looking forward, the Monsters have some of their biggest promotions of the year just around the corner. Wanted to make sure you guys are well aware of all of these. Coming up on St. Patrick's Day, that's March the 17th. It'll be a 3 o'clock start for the Monsters and the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. And if you haven't seen the Monsters' specialty St. Patrick's Day jerseys, these are going to be certainly an item you'll want to consider. They're, of course, green. That makes sense, but they have some cool Celtic lettering. The logo's been kind of touched up a little bit, and it's an amazing look, so we're looking forward to that game. Also coming up, we've got WGAR Country Music Night, which I know is going to be popular with Monsters defenseman Cole Clayton. They call him Cowboy for a reason, folks, but that's coming up on against Hershey on March the 22nd. It'll be a 7 o'clock game, and that's a 1-2-3 Friday, so that means $1 Coca-Colas, $2 hot dogs, and $3 Labatt Blues. We'll see you. Hopefully you have your boots, your cowboy hat, and a big yeehaw when you walk in the door at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Now, this one is going to be one that I think a lot of fans are going to want to circle. Golf Night is coming up, presented by 5 Iron Golf, and this features an appearance on the 23rd of March. That's also against Hershey. By Christopher McDonald. Now, you know Christopher McDonald because he played Shooter McGavin in the iconic movie. It's a golf movie. I think it's a hockey movie, too. Happy Gilmore. And we're going to have Chris in the building. There's going to be VIP meet and greet opportunities for fans. You can learn more about that at clevelandmonsters.com. But come on, Shooter's going to be in the building. So this is going to be one that Monster fans are going to want to write down, circle, and remember, get your tickets while you still can. And then finally, our total solar eclipse game rounds out the Monsters' March schedule. It's on March the 30th, and it's presented by NOPEC. Now, this is going to be one of the huge promotions when you look at the entire season here because, you know, an eclipse like this comes around like every 400 years or something like that, and the Monsters have you covered with an eclipse survival pack featuring a t-shirt and eclipse glasses. It's also a Monsters Family Day presented by Castaway Bay. That means $6 Monsters kids meals, but from the game presentation to the specialty uniforms to the entire night, it's going to be everything that makes the Monsters special in the AHL in terms of promotions and game ops and the experience here inside the building. So be there at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse for all of those major promotions coming up, and you can get your tickets by visiting the Monsters online at clevelandmonsters.com. With that, we'll take another quick break here on Monsters OT. On the other side, it's our Monsters Alumni Spotlight, and I won't tell you who it is, but you're going to be excited when you see a familiar face right here on OT, presented by the UH Straczynski Sports Medicine Institute on Valley Sports Great Lakes.
When I was growing up, I was always a fan of Bobrovsky, and he was wearing 72, and I always thought it was pretty cool, like goalies that wore kind of different numbers. So no goalies really wore 73, so I thought it'd be cool to kind of make that number my own. When I was growing up, I wore 30 a lot growing up, so 30 or 31, that's what I wore in junior, so I wore those two a lot more. a good question. I think as a fan, I'd probably either a Carey Price Olympic jersey for Team Canada. He was one of my favorite goalies growing up, either that one or I think I had a Henrik Lundqvist Rangers jersey. I was a big Lundqvist fan too.
Welcome back on Monsters OT, presented by the UH Straczynski Sports Medicine Institute on Bally Sports Great Lakes. It is time to cap our show with this week's Monsters Alumni Spotlight. It's presented by True North Convenience Stores. Anything's possible with C4 Performance Energy and True North Convenience Stores. Only at True North. Grab 2 new popsicle-flavored C4 energy drinks. Get the third one absolutely free. True North Convenience Stores. Fast, friendly, clean. Well, our Monsters Alumni Spotlight today is a guy that, for my money, is the most beloved player in the history of the club, and I'm talking about the one, the only, Brett Gallant. The Sheriff competed here in Cleveland for 8 seasons from 2015 to 2023. He's the team's all-time leader in penalty minutes with over 660 of those, and he's second all-time in games played, too. His longevity was serious with the Monsters here, 307 career games with Cleveland, and he's not done yet, folks. Gally thrilled the fans for years in the AHL. He had some time in his career in the National Hockey League with the New York Islanders, one of the most feared enforcers and pound for pound greatest fighters really in the history of the modern game, and he's still dropping the gloves. We'll see here he's up in the LNAH, which is a rather infamous pro league up in Quebec that features some of the greatest enforcers throughout hockey history, and here are 2 of them going at it. It's Gally and Donald Brashear, who was an NHLer for many, many years in the 90s, and at 52 years of age, he's still mixing it up, and I think Brett Gallant handled himself pretty well there, as he did throughout his career with the Monsters. Well, that was a lot of fun to think back on one of my favorite players, Brett Gallant, and I know the fans feel the same. That was our Monsters Alumni Spotlight presented by True North Convenience Stores. With that, we've reached the end of another episode of Monsters OT. Thank you so much for tuning in to our crew, specifically Leo Simone, Jeremy Hawks, but the rest of the best crew in broadcasting. We say thank you so much, and we'll see you next time at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. I'm Tony Brown, the show presented by the UH Straczynski Sports Medicine Institute. You saw it only here on Bally Sports Great Lakes.